Okay, I'm back with Martin and Vicky at Reading City, and we've been talking about the club and how it's doing. So let's look at the league at the moment. We know it's not been a bad start to the season, really, has it?
No, it's not, and it comes with its own issues, shall we say? So at the current time, as we sit here today, we are unbeaten this season in the league.
Unbeaten.
Unbeaten.
How many games?
I think we played 8 or 9 at the moment, and we've drawn 2, and we've won the rest. The problem is, everybody's treating us as a cup final at the moment. So when you go out there, they're raising their game because they want to be the first team to make sure you lose a game.
Oh dear.
Yes.
It's a bit like 1985 and the other Reading club, wasn't it?
Yeah.
13 games, I think that one was.
And I was only joking with Simon the other day, and I said to him, we need to lose a game. I said, as soon as we lose a game, everybody just they won't focus on us. But at the moment, like last week, we had enough chances to win the game, and their manager just said, he said you absolutely dominated the game today. But our boys were so up for it. We wanted to be that first team to beat you, and you're like, yeah, that's the problem.
Spellful.
Yeah, yeah, and that's the problem.
Game,
they just want to, and reverse psychology is lose a game, and then we're fine. We'll just forget about us, and then we can carry on in the background and sneak up the league.
Let's be accurate. You did lose an FA Cup tie.
Yeah, we did.
But
I said the league.
You did say the league, but did that defeat change anything very much?
No, and do you know what? That defeat away at Wootton Bassett was such a strange game. We could have been 2-0 up. It's one of them games that I think the old cliche is we could have been out there all day, we could have had an open goal from a yard, and we'd have still managed to put it over the bar. Whatever we did, it was not going to happen, and we made a couple of silly errors, which you just look at and think, why did you do that? But on the day, you look at it, we got beat, Wootton Bassett with a better side. But
that's the way it goes.
On another day, you could have been 2-0 up and it could have been dusted and buried. The FA Vars, well...
That was a heartbreak, wasn't it? Because you equalised in the 93rd minute,
correct,
something like that.
And absolutely battered them second half to the degree of it was like they were throwing bodies. And then we scored, and you're like, right, straight to penalties. We scored the first 2. Mm-hmm. They missed theirs. We're like, we're in here.
This is the point at which the radio station's Twitter feed cut out, and I lost contact.
And we're like, well, this is it. We're flying.
Mm-hmm.
We went up, missed our third. They missed their third. We went up, missed our fourth. They scored their fourth. We had a chance to win it. Bury missed. They scored. We missed. They missed. We missed. They scored. So we missed 4 on the bounce.
Oh.
And
I lost count of how many penalties that was.
It went to 6. But we just could not score. And at 4 on the bounce, and we hit the post. One of them hit the post. One of them bobbled and rolled, and it's penalties, isn't it? It's a lottery. But when you're 2-0 up and they've missed their first 2, you're like, you start dreaming.
I think England have been there.
Yeah.
Reading have certainly been there.
Yeah.
We all love them and hate them. It's fine.
It's like everything. When you lose like that, you've got to take positives out of it and say, we don't want to feel like this again. And actually, they went out the following week and won. So.
Well, I was going to ask you that because you talked about Simon. Let's just give Simon his full name here because we keep saying
Simon Johnson.
Simon Johnson's the club manager.
Yeah, he is.
First team manager, I should have said. How does he build the players back up after that?
It's an interesting one actually because I think every manager would want to know that. Personally, I think it's about the fact that team has a very good bond, and when they lose together as a team. And I think that's something I've seen this year is that they lose together and they win together. Yeah, so there's nobody in there blaming somebody for missing a penalty. There's nobody blaming because they didn't make the tackle. It doesn't work like that with that group. This group we've got, they work together and they support each other. And it is a very strong group as a unit, which really makes the manager's job a lot easier because he's just got to influence, manage and coach and not worry about people getting upset or thing. And bearing in mind he's got a 22-man squad and he's managing to keep all of them happy. Some are dropping down to get minutes in our 23s and then they come back up and then on the bench there's a couple away. but it's working because they all want to be part of it. And the same with 23s, they want to do it because some of those have played through the club, they've come up through the club, and now they're getting their few minutes. And it's all about what Vicky said about the pathway. You know, it's important to the club to have a pathway because there aren't many around that can do it, and not a lot of clubs are succeeding in getting their reserves to buy into what the first team is doing. But we've got 4 teams buying into one, so that's the uniqueness at the moment.
That's a pretty special talent, isn't it?
Yeah.
To be able to lead through that.
Yeah, and they all look up to Simon. So all the managers work with Simon. They have regular chats together, but they work together. They train together. So the managers all feel part of his management team. They're not like, oh, you're the reserve team, oh, you're the third team manager. Well, off you go then. They don't. They're all work together.
One club, one family, one direction.
Absolutely, and it's one squad.
Excellent.
So, and it works.
So, big games.
Yeah.
It's a local-ish league, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. It is.
Who are the rival clubs?
Well, until we get beaten, every game's a big game because everybody else treats it as a cup final.
City the only unbeaten side in the league at the moment?
Yep.
That's impressive. But you're only in 6th place at the moment.
Yep, because we've got games in hand.
Yeah.
Win the games in hand, we would go second. And our local and biggest rivals, Ascot, because they've lost 1 and drawn 1 and we've drawn 2. If we played the same amount of games, there'd be a point in front of us.
Okay, so if all games are played, Ascot could be...
Yeah, they'd be in front of us by a point.
Okay. Played them yet?
No.
When?
I think, off the top of my head, I think it's the 3rd of December is the first interaction with Ascot at home. Oh no, sorry, the 6th. 6th, it's midweek. I was thinking of Saturday. It's not, it's midweek. On the Tuesday night, Tuesday the 6th, at home.
Okay.
And then we play them away again, I think it's January. So actually, quick turnaround, yep. So it's going to be an interesting game.
So do you get that kind of spicy atmosphere for local games?
Yeah, you do, because you can tell, especially on a Tuesday night, because there'll be no Champions League.
Not in December, no.
There's no World Cup games, because they're the day or day before. So you probably find that if both teams carry on as they are, they carry on winning, you're going to end up with those two sitting at the top of the league potentially.
Yeah.
And then they'll be going head to head to see who's going to have that nice little bit of stretch, and maybe Ascot go 4 points in front, or we go 2 points in front of them. So, but then it's such a close league this year. Mm-hmm. You've got Burnham up there who have come from nowhere and doing really well, and it's like nice to see local sides like that up there. London Lions have been a shock. They come up from the league below and they're doing really well. Harefield are up there. Egham are up there. And it's a nice league, and to look at some of the results, you can see that teams, even if they're in the bottom half or the top half, it means nothing because everybody raises their games for games, and it's great. It's a great competitive league this year, and at the moment there's nobody running off into the distance. Not like last year when they just absolutely were the best side in the league and they were superb, and it says that they've gone up and they're doing well in the league above. So
what is the league above?
We're step 4 and go up to the Isthmian League, so you know it's where our other local sides around us play, but it's where Bracknell came out of last year when they got promoted. So yeah, we'll see.
Because it does get complicated with these sort of Isthmian leagues and Hellenic leagues and words like that. And it used to be a Spartan league, I think.
Well, there is still a Spartan league.
There?
That goes up that goes upwards.
Okay.
But it's like everything is, you win the league, and then you've got to wait for the FA to decide where they're going to put you. So even though you think you might be going in the middle league, so you'd be going with the local ones near here, like you got your Thatchams, your Binfields, your Basingstokes. They could say, oh no, sorry, that's full. You've got to go over to the right, and then you could be travelling all the way down to Bristol every week and down the further half, down Bridgewater, like Thatcham did the other year. So it really is a lottery once you get that fact of you're going to be promoted, we'll let you know where you're going.
Because that must be a nightmare, should I address this one to Vicky, really. Travel, if you get moved into a league and you've got to travel down to, I don't know, the other side of Gloucester or Devon or somewhere like that, do you have to book coaches for that? Do players travel on their own? How does it work?
We have got coaches in, but the coach prices now, where you could get a coach at say £550, they've gone up to sort of £800 to £900 a trip. All the the rising costs for everything really, from travelling expenses, coach hire, electricity, gas, everything. It's just risen. But it's quite a worrying concern, isn't it? I know when we went into Combined Counties League, someone said, well, you'll have a shorter journey. But it's like, well, but you're travelling on the M25 into London.
Shorter in time? Or
yeah,
in
you've got M4,
distance?
sorry, you've got the M4 and then you've got to go round the M25. So we've played Wembley. Who else is further around from there?
Well, we played some Pantaleon last year. It took us 3 hours to get there because of the M20, because the M25 and the M.
Your gridlock, Saturday afternoon, so you spend more man hours.
Do you get fined if you don't turn up on time?
No, actually the league, I've got to say, one thing about this league, they're very good, at understanding the practicalities, and they also put some common sense in. So when you turn up that late and you've notified everybody, the referee says, look, I'm going to give you 20 minutes to get warmed up. Fine, you play the game, there's no fines. Because you haven't deliberately gone out there and gone, oh, we're going to be late. You just can't help it. I mean, that was horrendous that day. I mean, they closed the motorway for an accident. Then there was delays and the thing. Then there was the roadworks. And wherever they went, it made no difference. And it was that. And, and you just look at it and you think, but I like the league. The league we're in now, they're very good at using common sense around things. Yeah, and they're very open and transparent about what they do, which really helps the clubs. Because then that you're on a good setting and you can work with them, which is what it's about. Whereas I've experienced things in the past where you've got no chance of working with them and you may have got fined for being that late. And in fact, they might say, we're not going to play the game, we're going to fine you, you've got to go back next week and play it.
That's ridiculous.
Well, yes, but let's just say, that may have happened, not with us, but in the past with other areas.
Because small clubs, you're not running off huge budgets.
No.
And just to be clear, do you count as a semi-professional club?
We do at our level, yes. Yes, it's what you use as semi-professional. I don't really know what that actually means.
No, it's all right. I'm not going to get you to define it because I'm
I
sure there are
think if
hundreds
anybody
of
could
definitions.
define it, it'd be brilliant too. But I don't think it really means a lot. It just means that you're playing at a decent level and you get 3 decent officials. You have to play inside a ground, and the ground grading dictates what level you play at. You have to have so many seats, you have to have so many, your lighting, etc., etc. So that's what defines it, and that's what they class in a semi-pro. But really, I think the real semi-pro, if you wanted it, because of the distance you're normally travelling, probably starts a step forward than one above. Because as I said, you could be travelling 2 hours to the game, and that could be standard. And then when you go to step 3, obviously, then you know that because there's only 3 across the country, you're going to have a lot of travelling. And there's a lot of dedication to that, and it starts becoming real hard work.
So you could be travelling to a midweek game, which presumably means players taking time off work.
Yeah, but again, the league is pretty good at trying to keep the midweek games local. Like we've got Windsor, we've got Ascot. Who did we have earlier on in the season? We had somebody earlier on in the season midweek. Wallingford midweek. So consequently, they're not horrendous. Yeah, so they could finish work 5:30, and then they can trundle along. They get to the venue 6:30, 7:15, so it's not too bad. Right. In previous times, not to labour it too much, but we've had Lydney away midweek.
Lydney, South Gloucestershire.
Yes,
on
over
the
the
Severn.
bridge, over the bridge, the other side.
It is as well.
Yeah, we've had that before. Can't be midweek. It's got to be midweek. Can't be a Saturday, and we've got home at 1:00.
And got to go to work next day.
Yeah, so in a way, things like that of scheduling, and I know people moan about things, but Alan, who does the scheduling for the Combined Counties, he's brilliant because he doesn't really give you those long trips midweek. There's a bit of common sense. Again, back to what I'm saying, it's common sense used. And I always say that, I am chairman of the Thames Valley League, which is a Step 7 league, but feeder league for the national system, but I always say that even when we're trying to do our little fixtures beginning of the season, we won't get them travelling from Cookham, say for example, all the way over to the other side where Padworth. We wouldn't do that. You try and get them local so as they can play their local fixtures because nobody wants the travelling, and you've got to use some common sense. And if you do that and put common sense into it, then hopefully you get to where you get to. Because would you want to be travelling that distance midweek? No.
No.
So why make someone else do it?
Exactly. Now, I know you wanted to say a little bit about potential for sponsorship here.
Yeah, I mean, we're always looking for potential sponsors to help support the club, because with that goes back into us being able to support other elements that we do. We do try and make sure that nobody misses out, and I don't want to labour it anyway, but I just say that we try and help where we can, and we try and always do it. And I remember something going back when I was young, and I asked the question to my parents, why do we have to wear school uniform? Well, that was brought in so as nobody stood out for any differences. You all wear the same, you all look the same, you are the same, you get treated the same. And I think sometimes the sponsorship that we get helps us to be able to do that.
Yeah.
You know, and we've had it this season where we couldn't find a sponsor for one of the teams for the kits, and we've managed to basically buy the kit for them, and then say to one of the other sponsors, would you help us a little bit? So they've already sponsored a team, but they give us a little bit. But then where other sponsors have said, look, I don't want to be known, I'm just happy to help you, we're able to buy that kit for that team.
Yeah.
So it's all going back in to the people that are involved or represent the club. So, and that's what it should be about. So yeah, so we've got advertising boards around the ground. We've got a very good social media presence. I think Vicky mentioned it earlier about the Chinese box. Well, when they came down, to take a photo, Footy Scran, we didn't know it was Footy Scran who was here, actually came down. They took a photo and they done a poll, and that generated 39,000 votes. 32,000 said Scran. And that day it did. It went up to 30-odd thousand likes and retweets and whatnot.
They went into a World Cup final as well. So it was 32 chosen.
Yep. From around the world.
Yeah, it's all professional clubs, and there's a couple of non-league ones in.
Yep.
But I think we got knocked out in the
second round. We got knocked out.
Second or third round, I think.
Yeah, but at least you're in there.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
32
definitely.
from around the world. And bearing in mind, LA Galaxy won it.
Who?
Yeah.
Never heard of them.
LA Galaxy won it, and Borussia Dortmund got through to the
Isn't that where
quarters.
some Welsh bloke plays?
Yeah, exactly.
But and even that, I was boasting the fact that we're traditional because we're the cooks and so on. A lot of people have cafes and they, get a catering company in to do the food.
Some of that 4-star hotels, don't they?
Yeah. The worst bit is
but
the LA Galaxy one. What made me laugh? What it looked at, I thought, oh, that's quite nice. $24. I'm thinking, wow. I think our box is big. I think we should charge £24. It was like
that would have been 4 times more expensive about 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
It's like, wow.
So how do people contact you if they want to take up that opportunity?
Well, actually, the easiest thing to do is to drop an email to finance at readingcityfc.co.uk.
And we will have that in our resources section, so we will be able to provide that information to any listeners who want to contact the station. So, and we'll repeat it after the last song, which I'll get Vicky to introduce in a moment. So I just want to say a big thank you to Martin Law and Vicky
Pyke.
I knew it was there somewhere, for inviting me down today and
You're
giving me
welcome.
all this time. It's been a great experience, and I think it's time I came down and watched the game.
No,
at some
more
point.
than happy to.
Absolutely.
So
More than
I will make
welcome.
a priority
that.
of doing that, and I'll certainly see if we can get anybody down to do a commentary during the international break. 'Cause I
Absolutely,
think,
that'd be fantastic.
you've got some great games coming up. And of course, we've got a local derby with Woking and Membrook at some point, haven't we?
Yes, we have.
Not doing quite so well, though, are they?
Not at the moment, but then they're always our bogey side.
Are they really?
Yeah, they are our bogey
Okay,
side.
maybe I shouldn't have mentioned them.
No, they are our bogey team. Don't know why, they just are. We just struggle against them. It's just always been the same.
We cover Woking as well, so I won't be too unkind to them.
No, that's fine. They're all right. They're good.
But as I say, it's been great to come down and see the inside of the ground, and this wonderful 3D view we've got on the TV screen right next to me here. So thank you ever so much. And
You're
welcome. What was your last choice?
Another changing room one for the first team. It's I Follow Rivers by Licky Lee.
Okay, let's hear that now.